Australia, Sydney. We see a man making a green virus. He packs the virus in the canister and then leaves for the train. Inside the subway, the train's pilot and passengers start coughing and the pilot dies, causing the train to derail and overturn. All the train services shut down and the passengers ran out of the subway in bad condition due to the virus. It is seen in the news that infected people are suffering and dying quickly, which fear the whole city. A man named Yousef is helping the injured boy at the station who asks him to call his brother and dies. A security guard sees him and locks him in the cabin, taking him as a terrorist. Yousef tells the guard, "I'm not a terrorist," but the guard calls his superior and dies like the others. The government thinks it is a biological attack and they order infected people not to exit the quarantine zone. A book-selling author and a renowned political activist, Pax, tells the news reporter this is the work of terrorists so that our army stops attacking their lands. Yousef calls her daughter Layla, who is an officer in the federal police, and asks her for help. After hearing the call, Layla gets ready and leaves for the station. Jack calls his wife, who flees the infected zone, but the connection is lost, and when his wife arrives home, he does not open the door. His wife says, "I'm fine, let me in," but Jack hears her coughing and doesn't open the door, seeing his daughter. Layla reaches the station where people are dying, and after seeing Layla tries to go inside, but Stokes stops her. He tells her that the police have arrested a Muslim man in the station who might be involved in the attack, and after hearing this, Layla goes inside the station. Lila finds her father and her father asks her to go Islamic Center, but she tells him the police think you are a suspect. Layla burns the CCTV camera and Yousef tells her due to gas spread on the train everyone got sick and then it crashed. She gives him her bike key and gives him an address to hide and says don't come out till the real culprit is found. Premier Pamela Laird tells the media in a press conference that the police have already investigated the matter and the rest of the infected people have been quarantined. During this, she sees her daughter on the TV in the infected zone and quits a press conference. Jack takes his daughter and outside after seeing his dead wife he leaves emotionally. Pamela calls Wallace to find her daughter. Mr. Langston arrives there, and he tells her my board is looking into emergency funds for these special circumstances. Pamela tells him my daughter was on that train and leaves to find out. Her secretary prevents her from going there because the virus is very fast acting and kills within 20 minutes. Layla sees a woman in the camera and goes out and she sees two women holding a virus canister. One of them is infected and gives her the antidote, and when Layla asks her to stop she runs away. Layla asks the other woman about the canister and antidote, but she hits her and runs out of her sight. Deputy Jim comes to Pamela's office and asks her to call the medical team for the quarantine zone. Suddenly Jim starts coughing and vomits blood. Two men gather the dead bodies and Layla hears a woman's voice and opens her shroud, but the woman coughs and her blood falls on Layla's mouth. The man tried to catch her but she kicked him and ran away. Layla also gets infected and starts coughing, and as she faints the same woman reaches and injects her with the antidote. Pamela gets a call from an unknown number asking her to hold a press conference, but she tells the man that the building is now infected. The man tells her that we have secured the infected section and hears George's voice to Pamela, who is very scared. Jack stops Pamela's car to save his child, but she leaves and the police take infected people in a room and burn them alive. Layla goes to her office and tells Stokes that she got infected but a girl came there and injected me with the antidote. Layla uses the woman's fingerprint and finds her identity, Harriet Vila, and Layla leaves there. Layla stops by Wallace, who asks her to stay out of this case, but she disobeys him and leaves. Layla breaks into Harriet's house and she runs to see her, but she catches her to ask some questions. Layla asks her who you work for. Harriet starts to tell her, but then they are ambushed and Harriet is shot. Layla calls an ambulance and asks her again, but she dies and Layla finds a diary in her pocket. Stokes also arrives on the scene and tells her to leave. Wallace and the police are on the way. Layla sees written in the diary, "Harriet, you are the revolution," by Pax, and she leaves. The reporter stops Jack and asks him about the terrorist. Jack tells her I lost my wife, she dies on the doorstep and whoever did this will suffer. When Layla reaches Pax's house she receives a call from her father who asks her to come back and go somewhere else with him. Layla tells him to stay because the government thinks you're involved in the attack. Pamela meets a man who asks her to go against the party police to save people, sons, and their daughter and leaves. Pamela gives a controversial statement saying that the new proposals are about to giving the power back to those people who protect our way of life. When the reporter asks her about the circumstances she leaves the stage. Her secretary asks her what she will say when people ask her questions, but Pamela is worried and remains silent. Layla finds Pax and asks him about Harriet, but he tells her maybe she's her fan, like someone left the briefcase on my doorstep. After finding a virus in the briefcase, she arrests him and takes him to the police station. Pamela's secretary comes and tells her that they make a vaccine, but she grows suspicious, telling her to call Prime Minister. In the police station, Layla shows Pax pictures of the victims and asks him about the virus, but he tells her I don't know about anything. She shows Pax the pictures of Harriet and asks him to tell me the name of the man who is doing all this. Pax starts crying, and when he is just about to write the name, his lawyer and Wallace come to take him. Layla tells Wallace he saw the virus canister in Pax's house and shows him the pictures, but Wallace asks her HR will investigate you. Layla gets angry and calls him a briber and hits him on the head. Wallace orders Stokes to arrest her. Stokes unlocks her handcuffs in the elevator and goes straight to Pax's house, but this time she finds nothing. All the people in Parliament are vaccinated, after which the Prime Minister tells the media that the vaccine will be available in the market very soon. Elizabeth Haynes, a reporter, asks Pamela why the police are harassing innocent people. Just today our Muslim doctor was harassed and prevented from going to the hospital. Pamela ignores her question and tells the media that we found vaccine due to our scientists' hard work and with Mr. Langston's cooperation. Yousef watches Langston on the news and tells Layla that this company gave us free flu injections before the virus, but she tells him Wallace acquits the real culprit and erases all the evidence. Langston asks Pamela about Georgia and tells her that I gave the job to Wallace, but Pamela sees the man in the black coat and runs to him. Pamela stops him outside and asks about Georgia, but the man shows him the gun. Layla meets Stokes and tells him after Wallace freed Pax, she went to his house but everything disappeared. Stokes shows her the CCTV video where she freed her father from the railway station during the outbreak, and a member of an extremist organization asks to kill him. Stokes tells her every unit of the police is searching for your father, so they have to find him before the police do. They both go to the place where she hides Yousef, but he isn't there. Yousef reaches the Islamic center and sees pigs' heads and blood all over the walls. Jack arrives there and asks Yousef, "You did it?" and Yousef tells him, "How can I do this thing?" Jack shows him the picture and asks him why you didn't sick. Yousef becomes emotional, saying, "I'm sorry that your wife is dead, but I did not do this. If you want to hurt me, then kill me." Jack starts to leave and Yousef says something in Arabic which makes Jack angry. He beats him. Yousef's head hits the ground and he dies, and Jack leaves. The kidnapper sends Pamela a video of him torturing Georgia and cutting off her fingers, causing her to cry helplessly. Layla finds her father dead and attempts to beat Jack, but Stokes takes her home. Stokes tries to get closer with her, but she angrily stops him. "My father died," and Stokes leaves. She turns on the TV and watches Pamela, who is telling the reporter that their suspect Yousef has died, but the police are now looking his daughter. When Pamela sits in the car, someone kidnaps her while at the gas station. Some teenagers are beating a Sikh, and when Stokes tries to stop them, they attack him. Jack is released from jail by the extremist group whose reason for killing Yousef is because they make him a hero. Stokes is still trying to contact Layla, but Wallace comes and asks him to stay away from her because she is also a suspect for the police. The extremist man reaches out to Jack and asks him to join the group, but Jack refuses to join. Then the man goes back on the bus and tells others soon their hero will join. He threatens Jack that if he doesn't join the group, his daughter will never see him again, and Jack is forced to join their group. Layla kidnaps Pamela and tells her, "You did all of this and trapped me and my father," but she tells her, "They kidnapped my daughter, so I have no choice." Layla watches George's videos and then searches it to find the clue, and eventually Pamela notices the subway's track number. They look at the map and find the track number and then reach the location. Pax's lawyer attacks Layla and then tries to shoot Pamela, but Layla fights and kills him, and they rescue Georgia. Layla finds Pax and asks him about the attackers, but Langston arrives revealing that he is the responsible of the virus attack. Langston tells her it's all about politics and they inject free flu vaccines to Muslim communities for 2 weeks before the attack, and then shoot Pax. Langston then takes Layla out at gunpoint, and Layla remembers her dead father and attacks Langston in the head, killing him. Her face is covered in blood and she starts running away, but Stokes stops her. Stokes puts a transmitter around her neck and she kicks him and runs away. As she reaches home, the extremist group comes and wants to kill her. They ask Jack to slit her throat. Jack hits the blade on the surface and saves her life. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.